Hey guys! The Wacky Jig is a very simple but highly effective way for anyone to have fun catching fish. Alright, the Wacky Jig Rig is a hybrid that combines the signature fluttering action of a Wacky Rig with the benefits of a jig head. This simple combo allows your lure to sink faster and target deeper water more effectively, making it a versatile and efficient setup for various fishing conditions. Let's start by looking at the pros of the Wacky Jig. First, it's all about the fluttering falling action and the slow rate of fall. When it sinks, the worm's ends quiver and flutter, creating a unique action that mimics a live bait fish. The slow fall keeps the lure in the strike zone longer. This is the biggest advantage of the Wacky Rig. Next, it's easy to rig. You can just hook the worm right in the middle with a jig hook. Using an O-ring can also significantly increase the worm's durability, which reduces worm loss and saves you money. And it triggers bites on finicky fish. When predatory fish are inactive or holding tight to cover, the subtle, lifelike action of the Wacky Jig can entice strikes when other lures fail. Finally, it's efficient for deep water. Unlike a standard Wacky Rig, the jig head adds weight, allowing you to quickly get down to deeper depths and cover more of the water column efficiently. Now, let's talk about the downsides. First, it's vulnerable to snags. While using a jig with a weed guard can help, the exposed hook structure still makes it easy to get snagged on rocks, logs, or vegetation. You have to be careful when fishing in heavy cover. And last, it requires an advanced retrieve. Unlike a Texas rig you can drag on the bottom, simply dragging a Wacky Jig will make you miss out on its biggest strengths. The key is to use a specific technique to keep it suspended and maintain that signature falling action. It takes some practice to master. Let's get into the rigging process. It's a lot easier than you might think. First, you'll need a soft plastic lure. While stick baits are the classic choice for that fluttering action, I also prefer to use soft jerk baits or minnows. In my experience, there are products available that are made from a more durable material, which won't tear as easily. The most important step is where you place the hook. A simple way to find the exact center is to fold the lure in half. This will give you a clear reference point. You want to insert the jig head directly in the center of the lure. You can just push the hook right through the lure's body. If you want to make your plastic lure last even longer, use an O-ring. Make sure to choose the right size for your lure's thickness. While you can slide it on by hand, using a Wacky Rig tool makes the process much easier and faster. Then, simply push the jig hook through the O-ring. This prevents the hook from tearing the plastic on every bite. Here is my tip. When you twitch with just one O-ring, the worm stays vertically. But with two crossed O-rings, the worm stands horizontally and quivers up and down. This horizontal action makes the two-ring setup a better choice for the Wacky Rig, as it mimics the natural movement of a dying bait fish. Using a dedicated Wacky Jig hook is better, but there isn't a huge difference if you use a regular jig hook. Unless you're in the mindset of, I have to catch a fish today, and need to increase your chances just a little. A regular hook will be perfectly fine for having fun out on the water. I primarily use a 1/8 ounce jig for this rig. Here's a very important tip. The key to the Wacky Jig is its slow, fluttering falling action. If you use a heavy jig, over 1/4 ounce, the falling speed becomes too fast, and you lose the unique, subtle action of the Wacky Jig. To entice a subtle bite from a bass, your lure needs to fall slowly and naturally, just like a wounded baitfish. This gives the bass enough time to notice and bite it. That's why I recommend using a jig 3/16 of an ounce or lighter. And for this rod setup, I use a fast action rod. A medium or medium light power rod is perfect for enjoying the fight and works great unless you're fishing heavy cover. Also, remember that the thicker the hook on your jig, the stronger your hook set needs to be to make sure it properly penetrates and sets in the bass's mouth. Now, let's explore the key techniques for fishing with the Wacky Jig. A lot of bites happen as the lure falls after casting, which is why the Wacky Jig uses two special actions to attract bass: the falling action and the twitching action. The first is the twitching action. Just give your rod a series of light, continuous twitches. The worm on the Wacky Jig will flutter and dance in the water, mimicking a distressed baitfish. This lively motion is a great way to grab the attention of any bass nearby. Next is the falling action. Stop twitching and let your lure sink naturally to the bottom. If you feel a tap or see your line moving sideways, you've got a bite. Don't miss that moment. Set the hook hard for an exciting fight. By mastering the rhythm of these two actions, you can maximize your success with the Wacky Jig. Your Wacky Jig Rig is ready to go. Before you cast, it's a good idea to drop the rigged lure in the water and check if it falls horizontally. This ensures it's balanced correctly for that perfect fluttering action. Well, that's it for today's video on the Wacky Jig. I hope this technique helps you out on your next fishing trip.